The law of cause and effect and the path of the Bodhisattva is often very confusing to mortals. And the laws that govern the supernal worlds, and when you're playing the game of existence, it's not right to call it the game of life, but when you're playing the game of existence on those higher levels of mastery and beyond, it's largely incomprehensible to us mortals what actually is taking place. In the same way that a toddler can't begin to understand the decisions that their parents are making and the rules and discipline. Why do I have to eat my vegetables? Right? A 2-year-old can't understand that. Why do I have to sit here at the dinner table and not be excused until I eat my broccoli? Right? A toddler can't understand that. The parents have their reasons. It's the same with the Elohim, right? It's the same with the Christ and this humanity. Just look around. This humanity, number one, doesn't care, and number two, can't begin to comprehend the forces at play that are actually unfolding its fate. And when you try to introduce it to them, what happens? You get lambasted and you get run out of the Facebook group. When you try to give them a window of insight into what's actually taking place and the very struggles that they're suffering from and struggling from down here in the earth, you try to shed light on that for them and they condemn you for it and they hate you for it. So these people cannot even begin to fathom what we're talking about here, about bodhisattvas and the suffering that they endure and the things that they do in order so that they can go to hell after they die, so they can free souls in hell and accumulate positive karma and make deposits with the lords of karma. The average people can't even begin to fathom any of this, nor do they care. They don't want to know. It's not that they can't know, it's that they don't want to know. They don't care to know. But one who walks the path of the Bodhisattva, this is all we concern ourselves with. So this is why if you find yourself at a party or at a family gathering and you're surrounded by people who are talking about mortgages and their vacations and where they were going or where they went and what all-inclusive place they went to and what the food was like, and then they're talking about their investments, their mortgages, which insurance company they're at or what insurance company they're not at, and they're planning retirement. In other words, if you sit there surrounded, quote, normal people talking about, quote, normal things, and you find yourself, all you can do is just sit there and listen, and there's nothing that you can contribute because much of that mundane, banal conversation is just so completely and totally uninteresting to you. You can't relate to it on any level, and you certainly can't contribute to it. There's a good chance that's because your higher self is here for metaphysical reasons. If you find yourself, for example, here on this live stream or in other like-minded circles of friends, and what you talk about and what interests you and what motivates you and drives you is getting at the truth and opening up a window on the supernal worlds, on the metaphysical reality behind this so-called reality that we are currently existing in. All of that is because you are being called. You're being pulled in that direction. A bodhisattva doesn't concern themselves with anything but their work. And their work is metaphysical, their work is divine. We care about your soul. We care about the fate of your immortal soul. That's what we care about. We don't care about your feelings. We don't care about your income. We don't care about your lifespan. That's why we're not a doctor. We don't care about your interests and hobbies. We don't care about what all-inclusive vacation you went to last year. We don't concern ourselves with these mundane facets of existence that the mortal vessel preoccupies itself with. You've got a rational mind. You probably have a huge circle of friends and probably a network of people that you can tap into that will give you investment advice, insurance advice, travel advice, where to send your kids to school, where are the best neighborhoods to live, right? Should you buy a house now? Should you sell a house? Should you rent instead of buying? There's a million people out there who concern themselves with these worldly things that you can turn to for guidance and advice. That's why we don't bother with any of that. Because number one, we're not qualified. Number two, we don't care. And number three, because it's all going away. A bodhisattva cares about the immortal souls and the fate of those immortal souls. We care about monads. We're here doing the work of the father and the mother. That's why every last man, woman, and child and being on this planet is by extension our children. And we do what any parent does for their children, which may include dying for this humanity. It certainly includes psychological death. And that's what Jesus shows us. That's what his life and Easter in particular teaches us and shows us. To suffer all the indignation, to suffer all the judgment and condemnation, and the trolling and the hatred and the spite of the mob who was fickle, that was waving him into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday a week before, or was it 40 days before, a month before? Regardless, one day, he's the greatest. The next day, let's crucify the bastard. That's the mob. That's mechanical nature. That's the law of the pendulum, the mechanical law of the pendulum. She loves me not. She loves me not. I love it, I hate it. I love it, I hate it. I want this, I don't want that. It's all just that pendulum swing, the binary duality of mechanical nature. We concern ourselves with helping people escape from that. Jesus shows us the way of suffering and sacrifice and dying on the cross of suprasexuality, of accepting our fate and practicing white tantra, the cross of suprasexuality, to die as a mortal so that we can become immortal. And if we're on the path of the Bodhisattva, so that we can become immortal while we are here on this earth, become a living, breathing God, like the great pharaohs of old, and the great prophets and avatars, and martyrs and saints, who are now ascended masters. But even if we're not on that path, we can learn much on making whatever contribution we are here to make. We can take a page from the Bodhisattva playbook, because it might not be this lifetime, but it might be some future lifetime that we will be playing that out. So the more experience we have and the more practice we have in this lifetime, the more the Bodhisattva path will seem all the more natural and familiar to us in the future.